All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakwadash, for the spirit to do this lesson. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the men of the Lord, prophesying, preaching, and teaching on the highways and byways in sincerity and in truth. Shalom, Barakatham. And I want to touch on this article. You see the title. It says Boy Scouts reach $850 million settlement with tens of thousands of sexual abuse victims. Now this is how you know that the devil, he's off the chain, because most of these victims were most likely Edomites. He probably had some Gadites in there, because Jake as a kid growing up, man, they don't really mess with Jake like that in the Boy Scouts, right? But this just goes to show you these predators. A lot of that is this predatory behavior. It's linked to alternate lifestyle that's accepted. What we call the modes. The scriptures speak about inordinate affection, and the reason that's a wicked thing, according to the scriptures, not to this society, is because this is what it leads to. Innocence being taken from kids. You know, complete vile affection. And to the tunes of tens of thousands. Now, Esau is such a wicked individual. He doesn't even care that it's his own kids. Because I'm gonna bet that most of these kids are Edomites. Mostly it's Edomites that are joining the Boy Scouts. Jake, he at the crib, or he out running around in the neighborhood. At a young age. Jake doesn't know. Uh, survival techniques. Tying knots. You know, uh, how to start fires, things of that nature that you learn, out in the wilderness. Because Jake grows up mainly in the inner city, and to be honest, we don't really get funding to do that. It says here, it says tens of thousands of people who say they were sexually abused, while scouts filed lawsuits. Uh, while scouts and filed suit against the Boy Scouts of America have reached $850 million settlement, the largest in child sexual abuse case in United States history. Now, notice how they got a case going and they get awarded, but you don't get a single reparation. All right, not one. It's always Esau when his kids are wronged by his own people. All of a sudden, the court's got to do something about it. It says Ken Rothweiler, an attorney at Eisenberg Rothweiler in Philadelphia. That sounds like an Amalekite. Who represents the largest group of claimants, more than 16,000 people, says that the settlement is a start. The insurance rights for the past 40 years will be put into a trust that the survivor groups will control, and that could amount to billions more for victims. Look at that. They're going after more. You know, that's wild. That's crazy. It says, I am pleased that both the BSA and their local councils have stepped up to be the first to compensate the survivors. But not you Jakes. If this is a bunch of Jakes, you wouldn't see this. It says we will now negotiate in the insurers and sponsoring and the chartering organizations who have billions of dollars in legal exposure, of which a substantial portion is necessary to fairly compensate the survivors. So the majority of you vile, affectionate people, all right, you're in the Catholic Church and you're in Boy Scouts, all right? And a lot of these summer camps, you have the same thing going on. Why the hell would you want to raise your kid in this society, man? That shit should piss you off and make you angry, man. Even though this ain't really Jake per se here, you know. This shit's out of control, man. You're walking around tens of thousands of people, man. Those niggas are still walking around. Let me get vile affection. I believe that's in Romans, maybe. Wait, inordinate, maybe. Salakia. Colossians, Salakia. This is Colossians 3 and 5. It says, mortify there your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanliness, inordinate affection, evil, concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry, for which things sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience. All right, let's get a couple of these words in the Greek as to what they mean. Fornication, that's where the word porn comes from, porneia. Uncleanliness, inordinate affection, that's pathos. See what that word goes into. Whatever befalls one, whether it be sad or joyous, a feeling which the mind suffers, an affliction of the mind, emotion, passion, passionate deed. All right, so that's basically a plague of sexual deviancy. You know, people have different quirks. There are some people who get turned on by the sight of blood. You know, you got niggas like Jeffrey Dahmer. All right, those are versions of inordinate affection. You know, it says evil. It's kakos, concupiscence. Let's see what that word means. Epithemia says desire, craving, longing, desire for what is forbidden. All right. Now, when you read Genesis 19, you see that same spirit was on those wicked ass men of Sodom that was trying to take those angels, man. And this here, what these men did, right? This is a version of that inordinate affection. I ain't gonna make this too long, man. It just, you know, the shit sickens you to know that you gotta live in this goddamn world where these niggas are running free, but you getting hemmed up, you catching cases, you know, years gotta post bail for some flour in your pants, man. You know what I'm saying? Some weed or whatever the case may be. And we're complaining, you know, this is bullshit. And the Most High is gonna have to come back and do something to y'all, man. And it's already prophesied what he would do. This is Psalms 109 and 16. It says, let them before the Lord Jehovah continually, that he may cut off the memory of them from the earth, because that he remembered not to show mercy, but even persecuted the poor and needy man. All right, even of your own children, because that's what a child is. A child doesn't have his own money. A child is needy. Okay, so they fall into that category. It says that they may even slay the broken heart. So y'all are off the chain, man, on every side. And what they don't tell you is that a lot of these guys are in religions of witchcraft. You know, the reason there could be tens of thousands of these predators running around in these different organizations, and they're protected, like the Catholic Church. That's a safe haven, man. All right, like those. I did the lesson on those 750 indigenous kids found at those boarding schools run by a Catholic Church. All you got from this nigga Pope Francis was an apology, man, and no prosecution, no investigation, none of that's gonna happen. You watch that movie Spotlight. I believe it goes into that how they just turn the other cheek, you know. Let me see, Spotlight movie. Let me see. Yeah, this is like what the movie is about. It says in 2001, editor Marty Barron of the Boston Globe assigned a team of journalists to investigate allegations against John Geoghegan, an unfrocked priest accused of molesting more than 80 boys, led by editor Walter Robbie Robinson, Michael Keaton, Reporters, Michael Resendez, Matt Carroll, all these people, the reporters, make it their mission to provide proof of a cover-up of a sexual abuse within the Roman Catholic Church. All right, and that movie is off the chain, man, because you can see how far they went. They was interviewing all these priests, and you turned out they didn't get prosecuted. They just moved them to a different district, a different parish. All right, and they went on to do more and more wickedness, And now you wonder why the world is so sick, because when you molest kids, they grow up all fucked up, man. They're not the same. All right. And where does this come from? This comes from the ancient Canaanites. This practice of sacrificing children and abusing them to get some type of spiritual power from it. Let's read. This is Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter. What they was into. Let's see. Where was it? Yeah, I'm gonna start at Wisdom of Solomon 12:3 says, "For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices." And that was you Canaanites in the land, and you Edomites were around too, and y'all never stopped drinking that Kool-Aid, all the way out through the Greeks, through the Romans. Y'all had some kind of version of this wickedness, whether it's reincarnated through these various gods, Marduk, Molech. All right, that y'all are the wicked. All right, and y'all did it bigger than any Canaanite ever did. Okay, it says, "Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices," and that's what they are. And it says, "And also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh and the feast of blood." It says, "With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and their parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help." All right, because there are parents that knew what was going on and they didn't say anything, And these abortion clinics are a modern day version of that, This is Nahum 3:1. And I'll close out on this. It says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery, and the prey departeth not. The noise of a whip." And when it says the prey departeth not, that's people who basically couldn't run. Children include that. That includes Jake in many senses. That we couldn't go anywhere. We were bound up. We were in chains. In many parts in West Africa, we were surrounded by Arabs. You had other Hamitic tribes against us, and then you had Esau, funding them and funding the whole thing. It says the noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. Says the horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses. All right, and tens of thousands of those kids, they're gonna grow up and grow up and molest hundreds of thousands, and the hundreds of thousands are gonna grow up to molest millions. This has been going on for who knows how long, man. But how long is the Most High gonna suffer you wicked ass niggas, man? It says, "And there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses." It says, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot," and that's America. Because y'all sanction this. Many of these people are in your ranks. They're in government. They're politicians. They're wealthy hedge fund managers. You got guys like Epstein that are paying other politicians and other people. The guy who runs Victoria's Secret, Prince Andrew, all these people, man. It says, "The mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft." All right, and y'all sold families, many families, man. So that's basically all I had to say on that. This place has got to go, man. You're vexed every day. This week is especially vexing. you know. But, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, we're going to get through this, man, you know. We're almost out, you know. So with that, hopefully y'all brothers were edified. Call Allah Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachakodash, Wa Abab Ball, Shalom.